The Andy Griffith Show was a staple of the 60s, and modern audiences still enjoy it thanks to DVDs and syndication. It's set in the small town of Mayberry, North Carolina, a place filled with lovable characters and oozing with comforting aesthetic. Several Mayberry residents were removed or recast, but there was one character Andy always resented. It didn't ruin the wholesome atmosphere and wasn't the biggest disagreement on set, but it did remain a thorn in his side throughout the show's successful run. Keep watching to find out which character Andy never wanted on the show. The Andy Griffith Show's success. The Andy Griffith Show ran from 1960 to 68. It bore the already familiar actor's name and propelled him to superstardom. Andy based the town of Mayberry on his memories of growing up in Mount Airy, North Carolina, which today has about 10,000 citizens. Each of the characters was inspired by people he used to know, and/or familiar stereotypes of country living. The Andy Griffith Show's wholesome storylines and familiar small-town aesthetic helped it remain popular. It brought in consistent viewership for CBS from 1960 to 68. It never fell below 7th place on the Nielsen ratings, and reached the #1 spot by the time it ended. This is still an honor that only 2 other massive TV shows, I Love Lucy and Seinfeld, have achieved. The show also earned awards throughout its run. It was nominated for Best Comedy but didn't win. Don Knotts and Frances Bavier won Emmys for Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. These awards serve as a testament to the talents of the cast and the power of their characters. They were one of the most crucial elements that ensured the Andy Griffith Show's success. The show did more than create exaggerated versions of real residents of a country town. They created characters that were heartwarming and relatable, making you want to return to see them again and again. Even when they seemed too perfect to be real, they still provided a comforting escape from the busy cities and draining tasks of the real world. On-set disagreements. On June 20th, 2004, the character of Andy Taylor earned number 8 in TV Guide's list of 50 greatest TV dads of all time. His character got along well with everyone, but the same wasn't always true for the actor who portrayed him. There was trouble with Don Knotts, who played Andy's trusted deputy Barney Fife. The 2 actors originally signed 5-year contracts for the show and hadn't planned to work on it any longer than that. Don began to seek out other projects when this period ended, but Andy wanted to stay. He wrote up a new contract, but it conflicted with the 5-year movie deal Don had already signed with Universal. He was replaced by Jack Burns in 1965. Andy Griffith and Frances Bavier, who played Aunt Bee, didn't get along while filming. She wasn't a fan of her character and resented the role. Andy visited her when she was ill in 1989, and she said she regretted they didn't get along better. These disagreements were mild and eventually became water under the bridge. They didn't affect the show's success and consistently high viewership. Andy Griffith always managed to keep a relatively cool head in terms of his show, even when the showrunner suggested a character he never thought could work. Why Andy didn't want a mayor. Despite a few small on-site disagreements, there was only one character Andy himself held resentment over. He had a certain level of control over the creative process, but wasn't able to say no to everyone. This meant he eventually had to add a character he hated to the show not once, but twice. The Andy Griffith Show started as something very different than what it became. As a stand-up comedian, he originally wanted to include a few of his stand-up routines. Once Don Knotts entered the cast as Barney, he gave the role of the funny guy to him. When Andy was first planning the show, he wanted to base it on his appearance on the Danny Thomas Show in 1960. The premise would be that since Mayberry was such a small town, poor Andy Taylor would have to be its sheriff, justice of the peace, newspaper editor, and mayor. He eventually abandoned that idea and limited the character's responsibilities to sheriff and justice of the peace. This change in the show's core concept left the role of Mayberry town mayor unfilled. Show creator Sheldon Leonard felt this absence was too important to ignore. He suggested adding a mayor character to serve as a boss figure over Sheriff Andy Taylor. Andy admitted he normally got along well with Sheldon. He claims the only fight they ever had was over the new character. It came down to a disagreement in logic. Andy said that a mayor, as a small-town official, can't be in charge of a county official like a sheriff. Andy Taylor should have been the boss figure over the mayor of Mayberry instead of the other way around. This explains why he always felt the character didn't work. Whether Andy was right or not about the character is debatable. Viewership didn't decrease when Mayberry gained a mayor, and in the eyes of network officials, this meant he was a success. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like, and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Mayor Pike. Andy Griffith had at least one thing in common with his character Andy Taylor. He never wanted a mayor bossing him around. It didn't seem right based on their respective ranks. When it came time to create the character, he went back to a familiar memory. Floyd Pike was a respected businessman from Andy's hometown, and served as the inspiration for Mayor Pike. This was the first attempt at creating a mayor for Mayberry. He used his minimal authority to lead the town for 11 episodes of the first 2 seasons. His first appearance was in the episode The Manhunt, and his final one was in the episode The Manicurist. Dick Elliott played Mayor Pike. He was born Richard Damon Elliott on April 30th, 1886 in Salem, Massachusetts. He was only 5'4" and was overweight throughout his life. He became known for playing judges, mayors, newspaper reporters, policemen, and other authority figures. Audiences often recognized Dick Elliott's face and unique voice without knowing his name. He appeared in over 240 films throughout his career. He made his film debut in Central Airport in 1933 and appeared in several films after that. He became a regular presence on dozens of TV series in the 50s, including Dick Tracy, My Little Margie, Adventures of Superman, and I Love Lucy. Dick Elliott died of natural causes in 1961 at the age of 75. The death came halfway into Season 2 of The Andy Griffith Show. His final episode was released 2 months later. The show didn't provide any explanation as to where Mayor Pike had gone. Fans had several theories, saying he may have died or left town. They didn't get confirmation, but they did get a replacement character. Mayor Stoner. Mayberry got a new mayor after Dick Elliott died. His name was Roy Stoner, and he was played by Parley Bear in 7 episodes of Season 3. The first Mayor Stoner episode was fittingly titled Andy and the New Mayor. It showed off his stricter approach compared to Mayor Pike. His interference with Andy and Barney's police work leaves a poor man convicted for moonshine stuck up in a tree after being chased by a bear. Mayor Stoner's final episode was entitled Rafe Hollister Sings. It aired near the end of the show's run. Parley Bear was born in 1914 in Salt Lake City. He developed an interest in acting from a young age and after graduating from West High School, studied theater at the University of Utah. He developed a respectable reputation as a character actor. He performed in over 15,000 radio programs, 60 movies, and 1,600 TV shows in his 60-year career. His roles included Chester in the original production of Gunsmoke, Darby on The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, and one of the Keebler Elves. These radio appearances may have made Parley's voice more recognizable than his face, but he was still a powerful figure whenever he performed. Bear died at the age of 88 on November 22, 1997, due to complications from a stroke. Mayor Stoner's disappearance in the last few episodes also went unexplained. The Andy Griffith Show is one of the most enduring TV shows of all time. Each of its residents touched the hearts of viewers, even the ones that Andy didn't want to be included. Now it's time to hear from you. Who is your favorite mayor of Mayberry? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts Verse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.